your water being cloudy. So you turn on the light, you look in, and you're going, hey, something's different, right? And usually it's just going to look a little bit foggy. That's the best way I can describe it, is foggy. Now, we're going to get a little bit down the rabbit hole and talk about, well, is it green foggy or white foggy, or is it like chunky foggy? Like there's all these little subtleties to it, right? So first, you got to take a look at the fish. Are they doing okay? All right. Then we can move on to looking at the water. Now, the best way I like to look at water is get yourself a white container. Like one of the best ways, and this by the way should be, I should do a video on this. This thing's going nuts over here. All right, got another like apparently. Okay. Um, One of my favorite tools for an aquarium is sour cream containers, like the 16-ounce sour cream containers, because they're white, and that's important. So when you see cloudy water, we want to get a clean, a clean sour cream container and get a scoop of water, right? Now what we want to do is we want to look down on it, and because it's now only this thick and it's white, we can see, is the water green at all? All right? If it doesn't look green, then we know, okay, it's probably not a green water bloom. We'll talk about that. If it just looks clear, it probably is a bacterial bloom, because that doesn't add a whole lot of fog to the water and it looks mostly white. And with a white container with white fog, kind of looks clear. We look in there and we see a bunch of little like floaty specks. Then we know that's the chunky water. That means we've got particles in the water that we need to physically get out, right? So we're going to tackle each one of those. With the green water, it'll be very apparent in that white container of like, oh yeah, it looks a little green. Then we know we've got free-floating algae spores in the water, and as time goes on, that'll just get more and more and more green until you get, pea soup green water, right? But you've got this green water, and it gets greener and greener and greener. And there's a couple of ways you can deny it light, but if you have plants, you're denying your plants. The best method, in my opinion, would be to be a UV sterilizer that basically changes the algae so it can't reproduce a little bit. Technically, you could probably water change through it. I've never been able to do it myself. The other way, which I don't mention very often, would be a diatomaceous earth filter. And but they're kind of out of fashion at the moment, so you probably couldn't even walk into a fish store and buy one. But we take care of that. That green water is beneficial to fish. I actually have 2 tanks full of green water. I'm going to do a couple videos about them. But very good for raising fish, not so good for looking at, right? So that would be the green water scenario. Let's say it's not that, though. You're going, doesn't look green, Corey. All right, let's say it looks clear, right? Just looks clear, doesn't look like anything's floating in it. You probably have a bacterial bloom going on. Now, we call it a bloom because it's blooming, so it's making more, right? So something has happened in this aquarium. Something has happened that the bacteria that's there goes, hey, we don't have enough. We need more, okay? So that might mean we did a big clean yesterday and we killed some bacteria because we cleaned the filter, we cleaned the glass, we gravel vac, we did all the things, right? Could mean we fed a bunch of food yesterday, more than we normally would, and now the bacteria is going, hey, I can't keep up. I need more helpers. Could be that we had a fish die back in the corner and we didn't see it, and now it's rotting, making ammonia and that kind of stuff, right? Again, bacteria is going, hey, we need more helpers. So we get this bloom. So all the bacteria you have on rocks and glass and the filter, it blooms. And when it blooms, it goes into the water, and we get this foggy look to it. Now, that'll eventually settle down onto surfaces and help us. And there's not a lot we should be doing other than making sure that we didn't have that dead fish. We don't have ammonia from overfeeding the day before, all that type of thing. Like as long as everything else checks out right, all right, well, it'll settle back down. And we can get it sometimes we add way too many fish at one time. Could be the heater broke and got way too hot and killed some bacteria. Could be a medicine killed some bacteria. But it basically means the bacteria knows it needs more bacteria. Whether we killed some or whether we just need more, that we're going to have to investigate, right? But if we just typically do nothing, assuming everything else is healthy, it will settle down and we'll be better for it. All right. So then we've got the chunky water, and it's not, physically chunky, but you can see debris in it. Like when you look at it, you go, there's stuff in this water. Now that we have to get out of the water. And so a couple of ways. If it's really chunky, like let's say you had your Jack Dempsey finally decided he hates Java Fern, and he's just pulled it all apart, or he killed your plastic plant, you can use like a big old net. Just get in there and keep doing this move, and eventually you'll collect all these particles. You can throw it out, right? But if it's something finer, we're going to have to use like quilt batting or sponge. I don't have any of that because I'm bad at my job, but you could use something that is fine and it'll get clogged in there, right? So we want to be careful though. Someone's talking about clogged filters. We don't want it to get so clogged it chokes off the filter. So if it's the morning, you turn your light on and you're going, hey, it's foggy. Oh, there's all these particles in it. Maybe you put a piece of fine floss in there. But by lunchtime, go ahead and check in on it and go, oh, that's getting clogged up. Let me throw that out, put another piece in. And what you're doing is you're just collecting all those particles. Think of it like it's kind of a vacuum. We're just sucking it all up and we're going to throw it out. And we're going to keep doing that until there's no more left in there, right? That's the chunky water scenario. It's pretty much always one of those three that is going to be the culprit on this water doesn't look clear in terms of fogginess. Now, I hate how everything I talk about, I can think of like 5 more things. Like, well, okay, technically there's also tannins. Water can get tannins from wood and that kind of stuff. I've got that going on in the 800-gallon. Basically, as wood is rotting and breaking down, it's releasing the brown tannins, like we're making tea, into the water. We can water change that out. We can use carbon to change that, or not change that, but absorb that. That being said, that's not really detrimental, and it's pretty easy to diagnose. Oh, put a giant piece of wood in yesterday. Today I have brown water. I know what happened, right? It's not really a mystery unless you've never done it before, you've never heard of it. So